From the Intellifluence headquarters in sunny Scottsdale, Arizona, this is the Intellifluence Influencer Spotlight. In each episode, we sit down with an influencer from our network and we discuss their background as well as their unique approach to influencer marketing. Kathy Haan is a lifestyle blogger, world traveler, mother of three, and business coach with an MBA from Purdue University Global. Kathy's work has been featured in Forbes, USA Today, Parade, and more. Kathy has partnered with some of the biggest brands in the world like Samsung, Amazon, Best Buy, Tyson, and much more. Kathy believes that the secret to telling a great story is living one, and she currently helps women create and sell high-end coaching packages, retreats, intensives, and online signature programs. Additionally, Kathy is passionate about helping women from the Democratic Republic of the Congo in business so that they may establish safe, happy, and healthy lives in the United States. You can learn more about Kathy on her blog at idyllicpursuit.com or at kathyhaan.com. Additionally, you can subscribe to her podcast called Turning Coaches into Millionaires Radio on iTunes. Now, sometimes I'm able to summarize someone's background with a quick intro, but yours is a story that people need to read for themselves, either on Idyllic Pursuit or kathyhaan.com. So can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you developed your lifestyle blog and coaching tools?
Yeah, great question. So I actually started out as like a health and fitness coach a little like 8.5 years ago. And at the time I was close to 300 pounds. And you're like, wait a minute, you were a health and fitness coach at almost 300 pounds, morbidly obese? And I was. It was like the one thing I could do to like keep myself accountable was being accountable to other people. So I was a health and fitness coach and ended up losing 123 pounds. Yeah, so that's like a whole person. And then I got tired of answering the same questions every day. Like, what workouts did you do? What did you eat? Did you worry about loose skin? Like all those questions. And so I started blogging about it. And then the blog really took off. And then brands started sending me like little gadgets to review for free. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is really cool. And then I would have blog posts do like 20 of them do like in a week for like a little gadget. I'm like, oh, this isn't working out. Like this is feeling a lot like work. And so I started to be a little bit more selective about who I decided to work with. And then brands started paying me, and I had the opportunity to work with some of like literally the biggest brands in the world. And they're actually brands that I use every day and want to like work with anyway. So that's been really, really cool. And then people were like, oh, you're making money online. I want to do that too. And so it's kind of morphed into not just a lifestyle like blog, but also like a lifestyle brand. So I also coach women with starting their own coaching businesses online. So no more health and fitness. I don't really like to work out. Which is funny because like I have a full home gym and my husband's a competitive bodybuilder. And I like to watch him as I like eat Haagen-Dazs,
Nice.
I'd be right there with you.
Yeah, exactly.
And at what point did you realize that you were considered an influencer, and what steps early on did you take to grow your following?
It's so funny because I remember when I first started blogging, and I remember like bragging to people like, oh, I get 1,000 page views a month. Like I have influence. So it could be like I live in the middle of nowhere in a tiny town in Iowa. And so all of my friends have always lived in here. And I've always like worked online. I started in e-buying when I was in middle school. And so like I always had kind of like that influence factor. I always knew that I was going to be like something someday and really make a difference. And where I'm at, it's hard to do that unless you are online.
And then among your many ventures, you're hosting a 5-month program which starts in 3 days from this interview. Can you tell us a little bit about the program?
Yeah, so I actually launched that program at my event that I had in Chicago almost a month ago now. And I knew that I wanted to have some way to take the audience at my event like beyond what they just learned there. Like when I host events, I'm very like type A. Like I want you to feel inspired and everything, but also I want you to go home and I want you to implement it. And so I launched this program that'll allow them to not only implement, they'll have all of the tools that they need to launch their coaching businesses, but I'm going to walk them through step by step. So they've got not just one-on-one support, they've got group support of other women, and they're going to have an opportunity to have their stuff like really like looked at and fixed and, you know, pivoted.
That's awesome. That's great. And so you say that the secret to telling a great story is living one. And your story is one that so many people can relate to in one way or another. Now, do you have any advice or motivation for influencers that are struggling in their current state? They're not happy where they're at in life and don't know where to turn next?
Yeah, that's probably like the most pivotal part of my story, is that people see all of the success. You know, I got my passport in May of 2017, and I've been to 21 countries so far. So they see like all of this world travel. They see me working with all of these amazing brands and, you know, buying properties and not having to worry about money anymore. And they see that highlight reel. And I don't say any of this to impress people. I say to impress upon them that no matter your circumstances right now, you have a choice. 8 years ago, my life was completely different than it does today. I was suicidal. I was in an abusive marriage. You know, I have a history of human trafficking and drug addiction and all of these things. And I could have used that as an excuse, and I did for a really, really long time, about why I couldn't do something. Like I missed work for like 3 to 6 months at a time because I was like so anxious and depressed. Like just calling into work, like I just had to call a voicemail line. I didn't have to talk to anybody, but like I would have crippling panic attacks just doing that. And so like to come out on the other side of this is huge. And what a lot of people don't realize is no matter what your story, you've got that choice, but also it's okay to get vulnerable as long as you do it from a place of power. And when I say that, it means that, you know, nobody wants to just hear you like complain about your past. They want you to explain like an action item that they can take if they're in the same state. So like, oh, I'm anxious. Here's my story, and here's what you can do if you're feeling anxious. So there's no shame in sharing your story, but from a powerful place.
That's great.
And you also mentioned early on that you had brands reaching out to you, and on your site you have a pretty impressive list of brand partnerships. So what are some of your favorite collaborations you've done so far?
Oh, I've worked with so many really cool ones. But probably the fangirl in me, as a child born in the late 80s, was getting to interview Kirk Cameron for his Saving Christmas movie. And Kirk Cameron was incredible to interview, but probably one of my most favorite like brand partnerships though is TripAdvisor, because I travel so much. Like it's like part of who I am. I'm super adventurous. That's been really cool. Like I just got back from Iceland and did some TripAdvisor things while I was out there. Like I was ATVing up mountains. I went snorkeling between tectonic plates. So like I don't watch Game of Thrones, but I guess like a lot of Game of Thrones was filmed there, like the big wall. So below the wall, I was snorkeling, and it was unreal. So any travel brands want to reach out to me, I'm happy to help.
I like that you brought up Game of Thrones. I watched that show. And then on the
all the time.
Yes, it's a good show. I recommend it. And then on the flip side of your favorite partnerships, what are some weird ones that you've gotten?
Oh, great question. You know, I just had one reach out to me about like, I think it was like diarrhea or something. And I'm like, I don't really have that problem. Like, I eat pretty well. I'm not sure what gave you the impression that I would have this problem, but thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, it's always great because oftentimes brands do their research on an influencer before they pitch something, but sometimes they don't. So we get a wide range of answers to that question.
I don't think it's just brands either. Like I had somebody that I consider an associate reach out to me about like health and fitness stuff and like trying to pitch me. And I'm like, thanks, but no thanks. And then she got really offended because I said, thanks, but no thanks. And it was like, that's all I said. And I'm like, if you knew anything about me, my journey, my health issues, you would know like what you're pitching me is like the opposite of what you should pitch me. And so I didn't want to call you out on your crap, but I just said, thanks, but no thanks, and she ended up blocking me. I'm like, okay.
That's like the nicest way to say thanks, but no thanks. That's really polite.
I know.
It doesn't warrant blocking.
And I think it's really important too. It's like, you don't want to be all things to all people. I like to say that I don't want to be everybody's cup of tea. I want to be somebody's shot of whiskey. And so if a brand or like an audience is looking for somebody who is kind of a mix between Oprah and Gary Vaynerchuk, that's me. Like I'm super, super like fired up and passionate and I can motivate you, but I'm also going to kick your tush if you need it,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I gotta ask her.
Yeah.
She said she's been to 21 countries.
Yeah.
You know it's coming. So you said you've been to 21 countries. Is Australia on that list at all? Or is that on the list to go to?
Everywhere is on my list. But no, my brother-in-law is from Australia, so my sister has dual citizenship. So it's like at the top of my list, along with several other places.
I hope to follow in her footsteps with a whole husband that's Australian.
Very subtle.
Putting that out there.
A lot of my friends are in Australia. And again, like a lot of my friends live here in the computer because my town has like 1,400 people. It's a town called Denver, Iowa. We're known as the mile wide, not the mile high. And that's a joke that literally everybody in my town tells and it never gets old. But yeah, I have to travel or have to connect with people on the internet.
All right, so yeah, last question of the day. Where do you see influencer marketing going in the next 5 or 10 years or so, and how does that pertain to your personal brand?
Oh, great question. So I definitely think that there's going to be a lot more influencers because people are starting to look at this as like an alternative to corporate, an alternative to the status quo of like going to college and getting a job. I did that and I have like almost $200,000 in student loans as a result. I do have an MBA and like half a term paper away from another master's, but like looking back on it, I wish I would have taken this and ran with it, before I had kids and before I got married. And I think that even now, people will rather like look at an opinion of an influencer versus like the brand's ad. Like the first thing I do when I Google something is I don't Google it. I go to Pinterest and I search and I look at their opinions and their pictures. So it's going to be huge.
Want to join Intellifluence as an influencer for free? It's easy. Visit Intellifluence.com, click on the influencers link, and then click on the Join for Free button to sign up. Once you have registered, you will get immediate access to our influencer marketplace where you can browse relevant offers from brands and apply on the spot. You'll also be eligible to receive attractive product and service pitches from brands. There's absolutely no cost to join as an influencer, so we hope you take advantage of our service. Also, be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and well, you know the drill. Until our next episode, keep being awesome.